All right, so you're ready to tackle Big Bend National Park. Solo? That's awesome. We're diving into the ultimate solo woman's guide to Big Bend.
This guide is like having a personal trip planner, packed with insider tips, especially for those going solo.
It jumps right into the best time to visit. They seem to love fall, particularly October, November. What makes that time of year so ideal for Big Bend?
Big Bend is a desert, right? So fall offers that sweet spot. You avoid that brutal summer heat and those potential winter chills. Just imagine you hiking under those clear skies, comfortable temperatures, perfect for setting your own pace.
Yeah, can't imagine those trails and scorching heat. Although, speaking of, the guide paints a pretty picture of a winter wonderland in the Chisos Mountains.
Oh, yeah. You might even find those peaks covered in snow. Talk about a dramatic photo. It really shows how diverse Big Bend can be.
Breathtaking views, for sure. But I also don't want to be caught off guard.
Always good to be prepared. Desert weather, you never know. Always check that forecast right before you head out. Doesn't matter what time of year.
Gotcha. Noted. Now let's talk trails. The guide breaks them down so well. Beginner-friendly strolls to those more, well, heart-pumping challenges.
They really cater to every experience level. That's crucial when you're adventuring solo. The Lost Mine Trail immediately caught my eye. It's a classic for a reason.
I was just thinking about that one. Must do, it seems, but probably gets pretty crowded.
Oh, for sure. Popular one, especially for those iconic Big Bend views. They recommend an early start, beat the crowds, smart for solo travelers, set your own pace, enjoy some solitude.
I like that, and I appreciate how much they emphasize safety. Hey, solo travel, it's empowering, but let's be smart about it, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly. They cover it all. Letting someone know your plans, enough water, and not being afraid to turn back if you need to. Your safety comes first, especially when you're on your own.
Absolutely. Listen to your instincts. Be prepared for anything. Now, beyond the trails, they highlight those Big Bend greatest hits. And it's more than just the views, right?
You got it. The Chisos Basin, for example. More than just a pretty spot. It's like the heart of the park, not just location-wise, but for resources and services, too.
So something good to know if you're traveling solo.
For sure. You've got
Uh-huh.
the main lodge there, a restaurant, the visitor center, all right in the basin. Gather information, grab a bite, even connect with other adventurers.
Practical and picturesque. Love it. Speaking of unique experiences, this one caught my eye. Bukia's Crossing. Wait, are we talking rowboat across the Rio Grande in Mexico?
That's right. Chance to really immerse yourself in a different culture, even for a few hours. Just remember, this isn't just a casual stroll. You're crossing that border. Don't forget your passport.
Good call. Now, all this exploring, got to work up an appetite. Let's talk food. The guide has me curious about the culinary scene in and around Big Bend.
Well, they're honest about the limited options inside the park, but they do point to some real hidden gems just outside of it. Something for every craving.
Okay, now have got me intrigued. We talking fancy dinners, roadside diners, what's the vibe?
They've got a great mix, actually. For a fun evening, they love the Starlight Theater. It's an old cinema turned restaurant and bar, known for its Tex-Mex and live music.
Now that's what I call a recipe for a memorable night. Can already picture myself there. Delicious food, soaking up the atmosphere. What about something more low-key, though? Quick bite before hitting the trails.
They've got that covered, too. There's this place called Taqueria El Milagro, a favorite among the locals, apparently. Authentic Mexican food.
Right up my alley.
Ah.
Okay, so food, check. This guide also maps out a sample 3-day itinerary that I'm dying to dive into. Ready?
Let's do it. 3 days is a good chunk of time to get a feel for Big Bend. Let's see what they've put together for someone traveling solo.
All right. Day 1, all about the Chisos Basin, starting off strong with the Lost Mine Trail, which we already know is a winner, and then ending with sunset at the Window View Trail. Talk about maximizing daylight.
Smart use of time. That more challenging hike in the cooler morning and those sunset views to wrap it up. Perfect balance.
Right. You get the epic photos without passing out from the midday heat. Okay, day 2, we're heading to Santa Elena Canyon, followed by the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. And wait, dinner in Boquillas, Mexico. Ambitious.
It is, but you can do it when you're on your own schedule. That's the beauty of solo travel, that flexibility. Linger a little longer somewhere. You totally can.
That's true.
Come on.
Okay, day 3, a little more laid back. Starts with a sunrise hike to Balanced Rock, followed by some downtime at the Hot Springs Historic District. I'm already relaxed just thinking about it.
Great way to round out the trip.
Yeah.
And speaking of relaxation, we should circle back to safety, especially for solo women travelers. This guide really deserves some praise for dedicating a whole section to this.
It is refreshing to see a guide address those real concerns.
Mm,
It's not all pretty landscapes and Instagram moments,
yeah.
right? Being prepared and empowered is key.
For sure. They get into the practical stuff like spotty cell service, packing smart, making sure your car can handle the terrain.
All things that can slip your mind when you're caught up in planning the trip.
And then there's that powerful tool people often underestimate: intuition, trusting your gut.
Which matters even more when you're traveling solo.
Right.
You're relying on your own judgment.
Exactly. This guide stresses that if something feels off, it probably is. Don't hesitate to get yourself out of that situation. Ask for help. Adjust your plans. Your safety and peace of mind are paramount.
I love how they frame it as owning that solo experience.
Yeah.
It's not about letting fear control your trip. It's about being prepared and empowered to handle anything. It's like they're saying, hey, trust that inner voice. Don't be afraid to change things up if you need to. Find that balance, adventure, and staying safe.
Right. Owning that solo experience, making choices that make the trip even better. And, they also talk about the social side of things. Solo travel doesn't have to mean being totally alone.
Right, there's that part about connecting with other travelers or even park rangers,
Yeah.
like little communities along the way.
Exactly. You could share a meal, swap stories, even hike together for a bit. Solo travel's about freedom, right? You create the experience you want. Solitude or connection, it's up to you.
Love that. So it's about writing your own story, and this guide gives you the tools to do it.
Yeah. It gives you what you need to know to handle Big Ben safely, confidently. You can really enjoy it.
Well said. So, as we wrap this up, something's been on my mind. This guide has that structured 3-day itinerary, which is super helpful. But what are your thoughts on planned trips versus going with the flow?
That's a good question. It depends, Some people need that structure. A plan makes them comfortable. Others, they want that spontaneity. Those detours, the unexpected finds, that's what they love.
Not one right way to do it.
Exactly. That itinerary, it's like a starting point, a framework. Follow it closely or use it as inspiration. Adjust it to what you're feeling, your energy levels.
I like that. Finding what works for you, having the flexibility to adapt.
Totally. The most important thing is to go into it with an open mind, a sense of adventure. Be ready for anything.
Couldn't agree more. This has been amazing.
Mhm.
With the info from this guide, I think you're going to have a blast exploring Big Bend. It's your adventure. Own it. Enjoy every minute. Make those memories that'll last. It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
embracing the adventure, but also being smart, staying safe.
It is. It's about really taking ownership of that solo experience and, yeah, making those smart choices that enhance your trip. You know what else? This guide reminds us that solo travel doesn't have to mean being completely isolated.
Yeah, they talk about connecting with other travelers, even the park rangers. Like you said, building little communities along the way.
Totally. Sharing a meal, swapping stories, maybe even hiking together for a while. That's the beauty of solo travel. It's all about freedom. The freedom to craft the experience you want, whether that's solitude or connecting with others, it's really up to you.
I love that perspective. It's about creating your own adventure. And this guide gives you the tools to do just that.
It does. It equips you with everything you need to navigate Big Ben safely, confidently. And when you feel that way, you can truly savor the experience.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm kind of curious about your take on something. This guide, it lays out a nice 3-day itinerary, which is super helpful, don't get me wrong. But I'm wondering, what are your thoughts on those super planned itineraries versus a more, go with the flow approach?
That's a great question because it really comes down to your travel style and what you're comfortable with. Some people love structure. Having a detailed plan gives them peace of mind. Then there are those who prefer to leave some room for spontaneity. They embrace those detours, those unplanned discoveries.
So no right or wrong way to do it.
Exactly. I like to think of this itinerary as a framework, a good starting point. You can follow it closely or just use it as inspiration, tailor it to fit your interests, your energy levels,
Yeah.
make it your own.
I like that. It's about finding what works for you and allowing yourself that flexibility to adapt if you need to.
Exactly. At the end of the day, the most important thing is to approach your trip with an open mind, a sense of adventure, and a willingness to embrace the unexpected.
Couldn't agree more. And I have a feeling with this guide and our little chat today, you're going to have an incredible time exploring Big Bend. Remember, it's your adventure, your story. So go out there, embrace it, and create some memories that will last a lifetime.